Look, let us be honest. There is nothing more frustrating than staring at a tray of dirt for 2 weeks and seeing absolutely nothing. You bought the expensive seeds, you bought the fancy soil, you did everything the packet told you to do, and you are still sitting there with empty pots. Most people will tell you that is just how it is. They will tell you that peppers and eggplants are slow and you just need to be patient. Well, I am here to tell you that patience is overrated. In fact, if you are waiting 2 weeks for a sprout, you are doing it wrong. At Plenvo, we do not have time to sit around and hope for the best. We want results, and we want them fast. I am talking 72 hours, 3 days, that is it. If you cannot get your seeds to pop in 3 days, you are losing precious time in your growing season. And in this business, time is money, and time is food. Today, I am going to break down exactly how I force stubborn seeds to wake up and get to work. No fairy tales, no magic tricks, just straight up physics and biology. First, we need to talk about why your seeds are failing right now. Most of you are probably taking those seeds straight from the packet and dropping them into some potting mix you bought at a big box store. That is your first mistake. That seed is in a state of deep sleep. It has got a hard outer shell that is designed to survive a winter in the middle of a field. It is not going to wake up just because it got a little bit of water. You have to trigger it. You have to convince that seed that it is now or never. The first thing I do, and this is something most people are terrified to try, is a chemical soak. I am talking about 3% hydrogen peroxide. Now, do not freak out. I am not telling you to poison your plants. If you look at the science, peroxide is just water with an extra oxygen atom. When you soak your seeds in it, you are doing 2 things. You are softening that rock-hard shell so the root can actually break through, and you are killing off any fungus or mold that is hitching a ride on the seed coat. I have seen guys lose an entire crop because of one moldy seed that infected the whole tray. Do not be that guy. Take a small glass, put your seeds in, and cover them with that 3% peroxide. Set a timer for 20 minutes, not 10, not 40. 20 minutes is the sweet spot. You will see them start to bubble. That is not a chemical reaction that is hurting the seed. That is oxygen. It is literally scrubbing the seed clean and waking up the embryo inside. While those seeds are soaking, you need to prepare for the contrast shock. This is where most gardeners get confused, but it is actually the most important part of the whole 72-hour process. In the real world, in the tropics where these plants come from, the weather is not constant. It is aggressive. You have hot days and cool nights and heavy rains that change the soil temperature instantly. We need to mimic that. Get 2 bowls of water ready. One needs to be warm. I am talking about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Use a thermometer. If you guess and it is 120, you just cooked your lunch instead of starting a garden. The second bowl should be around 65 or 70 degrees, just regular room temperature. Once your 20 minutes in the peroxide are up, you are going to dunk those seeds into the warm water for 30 seconds, then immediately into the cool water for 10. Repeat this 5 times. It sounds crazy, I know. But what you are doing is forcing that seed shell to expand and contract over and over. It creates tiny, microscopic cracks in the surface. This allows water to get to the heart of the seed instantly. You are basically screaming at the seed to wake up, and trust me, it hears you. After the shock, we move to the incubation phase. Forget the soil for a minute. If you want to see if this works, use the paper towel method. But do not just use any paper towel. You want the thick, heavy-duty kind that does not fall apart when it gets wet. Wet it down, squeeze out the excess. It should be damp, not dripping, and lay your seeds out. Fold it over, put it in a Ziploc bag, but here's the key. Leave that bag half open. Seeds need to breathe. If you seal that bag shut, you are just making a tiny sauna for bacteria, and your seeds will rot before they ever sprout. Now that your seeds are prepped and in that damp paper towel, we have to talk about the one thing that kills more gardens than anything else. I am talking about temperature. If you get this wrong, everything we just did in the first step is a total waste of time. Most people take their seeds and put them on a windowsill. They think because the sun is shining, it must be warm enough. That is a huge mistake. A windowsill is a death trap for new seeds. During the day, it might get hot, but at night, that glass gets cold. That constant change in temperature tells the seed to stay dormant. It tells the seed that winter is still here. In the gardening world, we call this the temperature roller coaster, and it is the fastest way to rot your expensive seeds. If you want those sprouts in 72 hours, you need a constant, steady heat. At Plenvo, we shoot for exactly 85 degrees Fahrenheit. At 85 degrees, the enzymes inside the seed go into overdrive. It is like a biological engine that starts at full speed. If you have a heat mat, use it. But do not put your tray or your bag directly on the mat. Those mats can get way too hot in some spots, and they will cook your seeds before they ever have a chance to grow. I always put a thin towel or a piece of cardboard between the mat and my seeds. You want a gentle, even warmth. It should feel like a warm summer day, not a hot stove. If you do not have a heat mat, look at the top of your refrigerator. In most homes, the back of the fridge stays at a steady 80 degrees. It is one of the best-kept secrets for starting seeds on a budget. Just make sure you use a thermometer to check the spot first. We are looking for consistency. If that temperature drops below 75 at night, you can forget about seeing sprouts in 3 days. You will be lucky to see them in 10. While we are on the subject of heat, let us talk about air. Most gardeners make the mistake of suffocating their seeds. They wrap them in plastic and never open it. They think they are keeping the moisture in, but they are actually locking the oxygen out. A seed is a living thing. It breathes. Every 12 hours, you need to open that bag or lift that dome. Let the old, stale air out and let the fresh air in. This is called air exchange. It prevents mold from growing, and it gives the embryo the oxygen it needs to push that first root out. If you see big drops of water on the plastic, it is too wet. Wipe it off. You want a light mist, not a rainstorm. By the 48-hour mark, you should start seeing the first signs of life. You are looking for a tiny white hook breaking out of the seed. This is the primary root. This is the moment of truth. Once you see that root, you cannot leave them in the paper towel any longer. The root will grow into the fibers of the towel, and when you try to pull it out, you will snap it. If you snap that first root, the plant is finished. This is why I always have my soil ready by the second day. And I am not talking about cheap, heavy garden soil from the backyard. You need a professional seed starting mix. It should be light, fluffy, and sterilized. If your soil is too heavy, that tiny root will use all its energy just trying to push through the dirt. We want it to use that energy to grow leaves. At Plenvo, we use a mix of peat moss and perlite. This mix holds onto moisture, but it also allows plenty of air to reach the roots. Before you put your seeds in, you have to pre-saturate the soil. Do not put dry soil in a pot and then pour water on top. That just creates air pockets and moves the seeds around. Mix your soil with warm water in a bucket until it feels like a wrung-out sponge. Then and only then do you put it into your trays. When you move your sprouted seeds into the soil, be gentle. Use a toothpick or a small pair of tweezers. You only want to bury them about 1/4 of an inch deep. If you bury them too deep, they will run out of energy before they ever hit the light. Now I promised you a secret. Something you probably have in your kitchen cabinet right now that can double your success rate. It is not some expensive fertilizer. It is weak chamomile tea. Yes, you heard me right. Chamomile tea is a powerhouse for seed starting. It contains natural properties that are incredibly gentle on baby plants, but deadly to the mold that causes damping off. If you are struggling with seeds that turn mushy, try this. Brew a cup of chamomile tea. Let it cool down completely to room temperature and use it for your very first watering after you move your seeds into the soil. It creates a protective barrier around the stem. At Plenvo, we call this the tea shield. It is the cheapest insurance policy you will ever buy for your garden. Let us recap the Plenvo 72-hour protocol. 20 minutes in 3% peroxide. The contrast shock 5 times between warm and cool water. Constant 85 degrees Fahrenheit with no roller coasters. And finally, the chamomile tea shield to keep the fungus away. If you follow these steps, you are going to see those white roots pushing through before you even have time to prep your next tray. Building a garden is about more than just food. It is about taking control of what you eat and how you live. That is why we started this channel. If this deep dive was helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm that real gardening advice still matters. I have been doing this for 40 years, and I have killed more plants than most people have ever grown. That is how I know what works. If you are new here, welcome to the Plenvo family. Subscribe and join us, because in the next video, I'm going to show you how to mix the ultimate growth phase fertilizer using nothing but organic waste from your backyard. You will not want to miss that one. Thanks for watching. Keep those seeds warm, and I will see you in the next one.